What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now, I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets, and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $220 just yesterday. Another member who won $223 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel, the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Also want to give a quick shout out to Sean Smith 6756 who said ESPN bet. Don't really know what that means, but shouts out to him. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. All right, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is Jimmy Butler, and this one is a fantastic one because this one is actually for rebounds for 6.5, and this one actually is for less. So looking at Jimmy Butler, we've actually seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, which is fantastic to see. Now looking at those 5 games, we see that April 24th faced off against Houston. So this was, round 1 of the playoffs. He had 2 rebounds there. April 29th faced off against Houston again, where he had 5 rebounds. Then on May 1st, actually had 5 rebounds in that matchup. Moving on to May 3rd, actually had 9 rebounds. And then in game 7, May 5th, had 8 rebounds to finish it off. So we've actually seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, and his average over the last 5 is also 5.8. So there's definitely a big a sort of line for him because we actually look at his average over the last 5 and it's significantly under his line. Now looking at the matchup, they do face off against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now as you all know, this is a very exciting playoff series. Now both of these teams were actually the underdogs ranking wise in their round 1. Timberwolves came in at the 6th spot with a 49-33 regular season record. They had a 59.8% win percentage during the regular season, and they took down the 3rd seed Los Angeles Lakers, who had a 50-32 record. So they advanced into the Western Conference semifinals. So did the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors actually came in 7th with a 48-34 record. They had a 58.5% win percentage, so very close. And they actually took down the number 2 seed Houston Rockets, who had a record of 52-30. So, both of these teams are pretty much the underdogs in that series, compared to ranking wise. And that's why this is going to be a very interesting battle between both of these underdogs. Now, with this game, this is going to be game 1. So we are starting fresh 0-0. And looking at the matchup, we do actually see that Minnesota Timberwolves, when it comes to rebounds, we do actually see that they rank 8th in rebounds allowed. So they're a very good team when it comes to restricting rebounds. And this is due to the fact that Rudy Gobert is definitely a great rebounding big. And they just have great rebounding all throughout, positions. Now, when we look at this matchup even more closely, we also do see that when it comes to Jimmy Butler, we tend to see him play the small forward or even sometimes power forward position. And what we have noticed is that the Minnesota Timberwolves actually do a fantastic job at restricting rebounds to the forward position. So we definitely see that happening in this game for sure. Now, looking at this matchup even more closely, we also do notice that when we look at Golden State Warriors and Minnesota, we are expecting in this first game, Minnesota are a little bit more of a slower paced team. We are expecting them to slow down the Golden State Warriors. And if they do a great job at slowing them down, we could see Jimmy Butler have less volume, and less volume means less opportunity for rebounds, which should lead to the under for this one. Now, looking at actually Jimmy Butler against the Timberwolves throughout the regular season, he hasn't actually played the Timberwolves for a while now. The last time he did play him was actually last season, still in a Miami Heat uniform. So, guys, this is a little bit more of taking it with a grain of salt. You can't really take this into consideration due to the fact that it was last year and in a different team. He did get 5 rebounds in that game. Obviously, it isn't the greatest sort of indication for it, but I thought I'd still show you because I know, you guys and girls do love to see that. So, thought I'd still show you anyway, but he did get 5 rebounds in that matchup. Now, Minnesota are somewhat of a similar team, but still different matchup, and we still do very much like the under for this one. So, for that reason, keep an eye out for Jimmy Butler in this matchup. Jimmy Butler, 6.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Bennedict Mathurin. So, as you all know, Bennedict Mathurin, great player. And this one is a great one for 10 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Bennedict Mathurin, we've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we see on April 20th, they faced off against Milwaukee, where he had 13 points there. And then April 23rd had 14 points. Then April 26th had 9 points. And then April 30th had 5 points to seal the deal. And then most recently against Cleveland, he was able to get 11 points there. So we have seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. His average over the last 5 is 10.4. So just slightly above this line. Now looking at this matchup, this is definitely going to be a very exciting game. As we all know, Indiana Pacers, Cleveland has already started when it comes to this series. Indiana are actually up 1-0 in this series. And when we look at both these teams, Indiana Pacers did actually do a great job during the regular season. They had a 50-32 record. That's a 61% win percentage, which I thought was great. And then they faced off against the Cavaliers, who do have a record of 64-18. Now, during the first round, we saw them do a great job. Pacers actually faced off against the Bucks. They were able to beat them fair and square. And Pacers were actually the 5th seed. And they had a 48-34 record. And then Cavaliers on the other side also faced off against the Heat, and they absolutely smoked them, in just a couple of games. So Cavaliers and Pacers were actually the top teams in their, first round. So that's why it is going to be a battle between some of the top teams in this series. Obviously, Indiana already took game 1, but coming into this game 2, it may definitely be an interesting outcome. Now, looking at Cleveland Cavaliers, we do see that they rank 12th when it comes to points allowed. So they do a very great job at, defending defensively. Now, a big reason why we do very much like, the under for this situation here is due to the fact that when we look at someone like Bennedict Mathurin, he does tend to actually play that small forward position, and Cleveland Cavaliers actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the small forward position. So we definitely see someone like Bennedict Mathurin struggling in this sense here. We should and may see him go on the under due to that reason, and for that reason, we do or are sticking to the under for this one. Now, obviously, looking at Indiana and Cleveland, and looking at where Bennedict has been in the sense of his role for this team, he hasn't really been a main scorer. We definitely see that being a huge case coming into this game as well. Although he did go on the over in that game 1, he just made it over by 0.5. So his usage rate isn't really at all there. There are other big players in this Indiana team, whether it's Pascal, Tyrese Halliburton, and others, and we are expecting them to have a little bit more usage rate and then do more of the scoring than Bennedict. So we do think Bennedict is more of that 3rd, 4th, even 5th option at times, and we definitely see that affecting his actual line in general. Now, looking at Bennedict Mathurin against Cleveland Cavaliers throughout the regular season, they have actually played, which is also good to see, but looking at those matchups, we do see Bennedict Mathurin on the 12th of January actually faced off against them, and they had 12 points in that matchup, so he did great there. On the 14th of that same month, he had 19 points, and then on the 10th of actually April, he did actually have 13 points. So he did actually go on the over in all 3 of those games, but we still do like the under. This is the playoff time. Obviously, guys, regular season and playoff time are completely different, sort of outcomes, definitely different defensive strategies as they throw their way. And especially as we saw in game 1, we are expecting Cleveland to make massive adjustments and try to restrict them in game 2. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. So Benedict Mathurin, 10 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Anthony Edwards. And this one is actually 4 assists. So this one is a great pick. 4 actually assists, guys. Let me just find it real quickly. Here it is, guys. 5.5 assists, and this one actually is for less. So looking at this pick, we actually have seen Anthony Edwards go on the under in actually 1 out of 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, it was against LA Lakers in round 1. April 20th faced off against the Los Angeles Lakers, where he had 9 assists there. Then April 23rd faced off against them again, had 0 assists. April 26th had 8 assists. Then April 28th had 6 assists, and then May 1st against LA Lakers had 8 assists there. So it's definitely been a very exciting game. Now, obviously, looking at Anthony Edwards, it is definitely going to be an intense matchup. But, looking and just kind of revising real quickly about both of these teams, Minnesota and Golden State Warriors, we do know that they are the underdogs. But, just to reiterate, Timberwolves did come 6th, 49-33 record, and then Warriors 7th best team with a 48-34 record. So somewhat similar records there. Obviously, both of them did beat, their top teams in their first round, and now they are coming into this game trying to, continue on and advance. But looking at Golden State Warriors and where they do rank, the Golden State Warriors do actually rank 10th when it comes to assists allowed. So they actually do a fantastic job at restricting assists. We definitely see that being the case coming into this next game, no doubt about it. So we definitely do like the under for this situation here. We should see Anthony Edwards go on the under, due to the fact that Golden State Warriors not only just do a great job defending assists, but they also do a great job at defending assists to the guard position. So we definitely see that affecting Anthony Edwards greatly in this matchup. Obviously, he did do very well assist-wise against the LA Lakers, but we do believe there's going to be a lot of different defensive strategies that Golden State Warriors are going to throw at Anthony Edwards that is very different to what LA Lakers did. Lakers were definitely running a different type of ball game. There is a reason why Minnesota are continuing on and advancing on into the playoffs. So we are expecting Warriors to hit them with a little bit of a different defense, and it could actually affect, Anthony Edwards really getting going, whether it's playmaking, scoring, or anything of that nature. So for that reason, we still do like the under for this one. Now looking at Anthony Edwards against, Golden State Warriors during the regular season, it's definitely been an interesting time. We do see that they did face off against each other first off in the 6th of December, and he actually had 9 assists in that matchup, so he did pretty good there. Then moving on from that, he also played off against each other on the 8th of December, where he had 6 assists in that matchup. After that, they played again, and he had 5 assists on the 21st of December. So they played a lot in December, and then 15th of January actually had 2 assists there. So he going on the under in 2 out of those 4 games. We definitely see that being enough and convincing enough to us that we are expecting him to go on the under in this next one. We are also looking at where, the playoffs really do bring out the best in teams and bring out the best defensive strategies. So we are expecting Golden State Warriors, as they also did in round 1. They are probably going to try to restrict their stars as much as possible. Is that what Golden State Warriors like to do? They did a great job against Draymond Green, not really getting him going in that first round. Fred VanVleet, yes, he did score, but in other aspects, sometimes, Warriors did a great job defending him. So Warriors have always been great defending guards, and we definitely see that being the case here, and that's why we are sticking to the under. So Anthony Edwards, 5.5 assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Myles Turner. So as you all know, Myles Turner has done a fantastic job for the Indiana Pacers. And when we look at, Myles Turner during the regular season, we actually did see him do a fantastic job because he actually averaged 15.6 points, 6.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, while also shooting 48.1% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at Myles, we've also seen him ranked 60th in points, 35th in rebounds, 150th plus in assists, and then 48th in field goal percentage. So Turner had himself a great year during the regular season, and when it comes to the Indiana Pacers, they do actually have a great matchup against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, obviously, this is the Eastern Conference semifinals. It's definitely been an exciting one. Now, Indiana Pacers and Myles Turner actually did take game one. They won, or they are up 1-0 so far. But looking at where they actually ranked during the regular season, like we mentioned before, Cavaliers did rank first with a record of 64-18, which was a 78% win percentage. And then we also had Indiana Pacers come in at the 4th seed with a 50-32 record, which was a 61% win percentage. So it's definitely been an interesting time for both of these teams due to the fact that Pacers aren't actually favored to win, but they were able to take game one. Now, coming into this next game, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. Now, obviously, looking at both of these teams, it's definitely been a intense matchup, especially looking after game one. But looking at Cleveland Cavaliers, we do see Cavaliers do actually rank 12th when it comes to points allowed. Moving on into assists allowed, we see that they rank 8th, and then rebounds allowed, they also do rank 11th. So they do a fantastic job when it comes to restricting points, rebounds, and assists. And when it comes to Myles Turner, we actually do see him going on the under in this situation here. A big reason being is that Cavaliers have continued to be a very great defensive team. And also on top of that, Cavaliers also do a fantastic job at restricting big men, especially centers, due to the fact that Cavaliers do have, the defensive player of the year, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen, who have been playing great defense so far on bigs. So, it's definitely been a tough time for a lot of bigs when they face off against Cavaliers, and that's what we are expecting in game two, as we are expecting Cavaliers to make some adjustments for game two as well. So obviously with series like these, there are going to be some games where someone goes over, someone goes under, and that's why it's definitely on a game by game analysis. But looking at coming into this next one, we should definitely see him go on the under as Cavaliers make some big adjustments there. Now looking at the most recent games actually against Pacers and their series so far, not only just this series but last one, we saw in game 2 in Milwaukee, Myles Turner actually had 15 points, 1 assist, 2 rebounds there. In game 3, where they actually end up losing 117-101, we had 6 points, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds there. Game 4, 129-103 win, where he had 23 points, 3 assists, and 5 rebounds. And then in Game 5, 119-118 win, 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 0 assists. And also in Game 1 of the Cleveland Cavaliers, we actually saw a 121-112, win. So that was honestly great against Cleveland, where he had 13 points, 11 rebounds, and 1 assist. So he did actually go on the under in 2 out of these 3 lines. He did go a little bit higher on rebounds, but coming into this next one, we should see him go on the under in this one. Now, when we look at someone like Myles Turner, there really isn't any sort of, line to focus on. I think points, rebounds, and assists, we definitely could see someone like Turner go on the under in this one, and that's why we do very much like the under. Now, looking at someone like Myles Turner, what we are also expecting from this game is due to the fact that we do see that Myles Turner has also, had a little bit of a decrease in his usage rate at times in certain games. Now, obviously, when it comes to Indiana Pacers, Turner does have a big role for this team, but I wouldn't say it's the biggest role out there. There definitely are a lot of other star players like Pascal, like Tyrese Halliburton, and we definitely see them taking a little bit more away usage rate from Myles Turner coming into this next one. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. Keep an eye out for all 3 lines. I see a lot of value there to go in the under, especially if the line is too close to his averages. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than Draymond Green. So as you all know, Draymond Green, great player for none other than the Golden State Warriors. And he's done a fantastic job all season because he's actually averaged 9 points, 6.1 rebounds, 5.6 assists, while also shooting 42.4% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job there. Now, looking at someone like Draymond Green, we've actually seen him do a great job, as we have actually seen him, able to bring this team to a playoff position. Now, looking at, Draymond Green, he did also rank 150th plus in points, 44th in rebounds, and 25th in assists. So he actually did a fantastic job there. And when it comes to the Golden State Warriors, they do face off against none other other than the Minnesota Timberwolves in this game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. So it's definitely going to be an exciting matchup, no doubt about it. But obviously, looking at both of these teams, we do see something very, very interesting. Now, looking at Golden State Warriors and where they actually ranked during the Western Conference, we actually saw them come in at the 7th seed. Now, they had a record of 48-34, like we mentioned, a 58.5% win percentage. And the reason why Warriors are here is due to the fact that they did beat the number 2 seed, the Houston Rockets. Now, they face off against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the funny thing is, both of these teams were actually the underdogs technically when it came to ranking, because Timberwolves actually did rank 6, and they actually, ended up booting out the Los Angeles Lakers, who were the 3rd seed. So Timberwolves had a record of 49-33, a 59.8% win percentage. So, pretty much as close as possible to Warriors when it comes to, I would say ranking wise and also record wise. So very, very close record wise in the regular season. But now we are heading into game 1. It's definitely going to be an exciting one. But looking at Minnesota Timberwolves, we see that they rank 5th in points allowed, 5th in assists allowed, and 8th in rebounds allowed. And for that reason, we do very much like the under for someone like Draymond Green. And although Draymond Green is a great player, what we actually have seen, not just, as of recent in the series, but also just in general, that when it comes to bigger games, we tend to see Draymond play a little bit more of the defensive role. He doesn't really do too much out there in a sense of stat-wise, and we should see players like Jimmy Butler, like Steph Curry, actually pick up, those stats, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists. So we are expecting Draymond to just lead the floor and do the best that he can and do a lot of the intangible things out there for this team. Now, when we look at Draymond against the Houston Rockets during that 7-game series, we see some interesting games there. Starting off with game 3 as listed here, he had 7 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. Then game 4 had 6 points, 2 assists, and 8 rebounds with a 109 and 106 win. In game 5 had 7 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist in a game 5 blowout. And then in game 6 had 8 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds with a 115-107 loss. And then to finish off the series, in game 7 had 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists there. So he did have himself a big game 7, but coming into this game 1, we are expecting a lot more from their other players, and we are expecting Draymond to take a little bit more of a backseat coming into this. So that's where we definitely do see much big of a difference. Now, looking at obviously this matchup between Warriors and Timberwolves, what we also do see is that when it comes to Draymond, who tends to play that power forward position, Timberwolves actually do a fantastic job, especially against power forwards, and this is due to the fact that Timberwolves have some great big men and great defensive big men such as Rudy Gobert and also others like Naz Reid, and the list does go on and on from there. But just to name those few, we definitely see Timberwolves continue to wreak havoc defensively on big men, especially against the Warriors, as it is playoff time. So we definitely are expecting a similar outcome there. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for someone like Draymond Green. There really isn't one category to focus on. I think he has a capability to definitely go in the under in any of these categories. So definitely keep an eye out for it. Now, so getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Jarrett Allen. So Jarrett Allen, as we all know, great player from none other than the actual Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, obviously, he has done a great job all season, but we actually have seen him average 13.5 points, ranking him 76, 9.7 rebounds, ranking him 11th, 1.9 assists, ranking him 134th, and then a 70.6% field goal percentage, ranking him 1st. So Jarrett Allen's actually done a surprisingly great job defensively and offensively throughout the regular season. And when it comes to Cleveland Cavaliers, like we mentioned before, they face off against Indiana Pacers. Now, obviously, they are down during this series. They are down currently 1-0. And just to quickly recap, Cavaliers did come first with a 64-18 record, while the Pacers have a record of 50-32. So very interesting there. Obviously, we do see these are, some of the top big seeds making it into this Eastern semifinals, which I think is huge. And obviously, looking at this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. But looking at Pacers, we do see that Indiana Pacers do rank 17th when it comes to points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, we also see the Pacers rank 12th. And then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Pacers do rank worse as a rank 22nd. So when it comes to someone like Jarrett Allen, we do actually like the over for this situation here. A big reason being is that when we actually look at Jarrett Allen, what we are seeing is that, Jarrett Allen does play that center position, and Myles Turner actually and the rest of the Pacers centers actually do a poor job against centers defensively. So we definitely see someone like Jarrett Allen and big men in general being able to take advantage of this. Now, Pacers, not only, I don't want to pinpoint just Myles Turner defensively, but I think overall Pacers have just always done a poor job throughout the whole season against centers. Obviously that does point to someone like Turner and Pascal, but the truth is still set in the pudding. They do a poor job against centers, and we see someone like Jarrett Allen being able to take advantage of that. Now, he may not have been able to take advantage of that in game one, as obviously the Cavaliers and Pacers matchup, or game one, was very, very intense. A lot of different defensive strategies, and like I've mentioned before, when it comes to that game one, it's usually just more of a tester game to really see what play styles, what defensive strategies each team is running. And game twos all the way to 7 is where you really start to see, a lot of the more common things to happen. So for that reason, we do think that Jarrett Allen will be able to bounce back from game one and be able to go over in this next game for sure. Now, looking at his matchups against, the most recent teams that he has played, especially looking at the Miami series, we saw in game one against Miami, they did win 121-100. He actually had 12 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist in that matchup, which I thought was great. In game two, 121-112 win, where he had 9 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist. Then in game 3 had 22 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist. And then in game 4, 138-83 victory, had 14 points, 12 rebounds, and 1 assist. 2 assists, there. Then getting into the next series, which is the series we are in right now, game 1 against Indiana, they lost 121-112, and the score was, definitely a bit of a beatdown for a team like the Cavaliers, who came first, but he did have 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist. So, he didn't do too well in his line in that game 1, but we should see that change in game 2 for sure. So we should see him be able to bounce back. He did go on the under in all 3 categories in game 1, but now in game 2, we should expect him to see him go on the over there. So keep an eye out for Jarrett Allen's line. I don't really think you really need to focus on any line. I think definitely a points and rebounds line will definitely come out. Assist is definitely very up in the air due to the fact that his usage rate isn't that high enough. But I think all 3 categories definitely have the capability to see someone like him go on the over there. So Jarrett Allen, keep an eye out for his line. If the line is under his averages, then definitely look to go on the over. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Rudy Gobert. Now, as you all know, Rudy Gobert, great player from none other than the Minnesota Timberwolves. And as we see, Rudy Gobert and the Timberwolves have been doing a great job during the regular season. And he's actually averaged 12 points, 10.9 rebounds, 1.8 assists, while also shooting 66.9% from the field. So he's done a great job there. And obviously, looking at, Rudy Gobert and the Minnesota Timberwolves, we do see that he did rank 95th in points, 7th in actually rebounds, 143rd in assists, and then 3rd in actually field goal percentage. So he actually did a fantastic job throughout the regular season. Now, looking at actually, Rudy Gobert and the matchup they do face off against, the Golden State Warriors, it's definitely going to be an exciting game, obviously. But what we also do see is that when we look at, Rudy Gobert and the Timberwolves, it is going to be, in their home court for this game 1. Now, we already did just mention their standings. Just to quickly reiterate again, Warriors did come in at the 7th spot, 48-34 record, and then Timberwolves 6, 48-9-33 record there. Now, looking at Rudy Gobert and the Minnesota Timberwolves, what we do see is that when we look at the Golden State Warriors, the Warriors actually do rank 8th in points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, we see that they rank 10th, and then rebounds allowed, we also do see that they rank 15th. Now, when we look at someone like Rudy Gobert, he is a center, and what we have seen time and time again is that the Golden State Warriors do very much struggle against centers, and they struggle in all 3 categories, whether it's points, rebounds, rebounds and assists. A big factor to this is that Golden State Warriors do love to run small ball, and we definitely see that affecting it, and actually seeing someone like Rudy Gobert be able to take advantage of it. Now, when we look at Rudy Gobert during the last couple of games, especially against LA, we definitely saw him do that at times. Now, looking at, the game 1 where he had 2 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 117-95 win. Then in game 2 had 6 points, 6 rebounds, 0 assists there. In game 3 had 1 point, 1 assist, 3 rebounds. Then in game 4 had 5 points, 10 rebounds in game 4, and then 27 points, 24 rebounds in game 5 to seal the deal and give them the win with a 103-96 win there. So Rudy Gobert did a fantastic job, and we definitely see him being able to go on the over in this situation once again. Obviously, looking at both of these teams, it is definitely going to be an exciting one, but the fact that Warriors do really struggle against centers, we should see Rudy be able to take advantage of it. So definitely keep an eye out for the over for this line. I don't really think you need to focus on any one of the lines. I think points, rebounds, and assists all have the capability to see someone like Gobert go on the over.